As your designated community slow reader, it is nearly impossible for me to upload monthly reading wrap-ups because what, am I going to talk about 1 to 2 books that I read? No. So unfortunately, I can't participate in that trend. But what I can do is provide you with a summer reading wrap-up. Fortunately enough, I have been killing it with the reading, so we have about 10 books to discuss. I don't know about you guys, but for me, that is quite a lot. And if you're watching this, you're probably also a slow reading girl and can relate to me. And if so, please let me know because it genuinely warms my heart to know that I am not the only one. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean I can't participate and make it my own. Welcome to my summer reading wrap-up as we are now in September. That is scary, but also so fun because I'm such a fall girl. I fear that this may be the best time of the year. I'm sorry if you disagree. Actually, I'm not, because I'm a Scorpio and I love Halloween. So I actually ended up finding new books that I did not expect to be 5-star books for me. I also found, I think, just one terrible book I had to DNF, which is not like me. I usually read books through. If I have to DNF something, it means I absolutely abhor it. I can't push myself through. I have no mental resilience to be able to do so. I'm sorry if it disappoints you, but unfortunately, the DNF that I had this summer was not good, and a lot of you girlies love that book. This summer is also where I started my Throne of Glass journey. I know. Round of applause for me because I know that a lot of you girls would like to be able to read Throne of Glass for the first time, as I am currently doing. We shall talk about it, but I'm still in the middle of the series and have a lot of things to say. If you are new here though, please make sure to subscribe. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers. That is insane. So thank you so much. I hope that you enjoy this video. Please make sure to also check out my other socials. I have a very active book talk and bookstagram. We actually just hit 4,000 followers on my bookstagram. You guys are absolutely killing it. Without further ado, let's get into this cutesy little summer reading wrap up. The first book that I read was Glow of the Everflame by Penn Cole. And I also ended up reading Heat of the Everflame in the Kindred's Curse saga. Heat of the Everflame took me a good 3 weeks, unfortunately. This series, unreal. 5 stars across the board for me. I'm not sure why this series gets any hate. I'm obsessed with the Kindred's Curse saga. I am so freaking pumped for the next book. Who knows when it'll come out, but I need it today. There's so much good yearning in this book and a very slow-paced romance with heavy focuses on the plot. Following a human girl named DM, she finds out a lot about herself, her past, and basically is trying to fight a war with all of these books combined. The cliffhanger at the end of Heat of the Everflame was diabolical. Miss Penn Cole, you need to really publish the next book, please, and thank you. These books were 5 stars for me. I loved them. I really liked Heat of the Everflame, even though it took me a decent amount of time to finish. I think that the plot and the way that a lot of things unfolded, especially the fact that the romance came full circle in this book, was amazing. Very unique, super fun. I really thought it was a very easy book to read, especially the first book going into the second book. If you need something that's kind of like an easy fantasy to get into, not like super high fantasy, the Kindred's Curse saga is definitely one of the best reads for you to start off with. I would say it's probably up there with ACOTAR in terms of how much easier it is to digest the information, and my personal opinion, I liked every single book. This one really was one of my favorite reads so far this summer. I also read One Dark Window. This book has been sitting collecting dust on my shelf for years and I don't know why I never picked it up. It's such a good gothic cozy fantasy with amazing magic and such a good romance that only adds to the world building and the plot. It's definitely more of a sub-focus, but I really liked One Dark Window. I think that One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns are one of my new favorite 5+ star reads that I have read so far this year. This is a great read for someone who hasn't read it yet, and now that we're going into the fall and Halloween, dark gothic vibes, great recommendation for that. Miss Rachel Gillig knows how to write a book. I think Two Twisted Crowns wasn't as good in my opinion as One Dark Window. That's just my humble opinion. I also ended up reading in July The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio. I needed a bit of a palate cleanser because I went from the Kindred's Curse saga to the Shepherd's King duology, and I really wanted to start Throne of Glass, so I kind of just wanted something that was a little easy to get through. It's a standalone, it's very cute, cozy fantasy. If you like Studio Ghibli, especially Spirited Away, this book 100% feels like that, and that's why I really liked it. Very wholesome and very easy to read. It wasn't the best book I've ever read, but it did what it needed to do and definitely gave me a little bit of a fresh start before I started Throne of Glass. She is a good pick if you need something like that. And finally, the most fun part of the video. I started Throne of Glass in July. I'm still trucking through the series. I ended up starting with Assassin's Blade. I know that there is a lot of controversy around that, but I'm currently on Queen of Shadows, and now that I know everything up to this point as to like what's happening in the story, I am so glad that I started with Assassin's Blade, just because I feel like the lore of Selena really kicked her character into gear for me before starting the first book, Throne of Glass. And this is essentially just a couple novellas about Selena's life in this first book before it starts. So you get a bunch of different kinds of backstory about her, about the characters that do end up showing up in this book, and it's so much more heart-wrenching than I thought it was going to be. I'm very glad that I started the series with Assassin's Blade. I know not everyone may agree, but personally I felt so connected to Selena, and I'm so glad that I started with this book. I could influence you to do so. I would definitely pick Assassin's Blade before Throne of Glass. And then once I got into Throne of Glass, it wasn't as good in my opinion as Assassin's Blade. I gave Assassin's Blade 5 stars, and I gave Throne of Glass like 4.5. This one's a little more slower. You obviously don't know everything about Selena yet, and that's why I did really like reading Assassin's Blade, so that I felt so attached to her going through this story. One of the best world building, unique, heart-wrenching female main characters that you're ever gonna read. I'm not gonna spoil anything. I would never want to do that to anyone, but if you are like me and you put off Throne of Glass for years, months, whatever it may be, because you're so scared of the series. I was in the same boat as you for 2.5, 3 years basically. I finally ripped the band-aid off this summer and just started reading Assassin's Blade. I am really happy I did, because I have not stopped thinking about Selena since I started reading the book. I literally think about her twice a day at least, minimum, and I'm not even finished with the series yet. So if that has any sort of hint as to how good this series is and I'm not even done yet, let this be known that you must tap into this. You really must. And then I got into Crown of Midnight and Heir of Fire going into August. These books were incredible. Crown of Midnight is one of my favorite books that I've read, and Heir of Fire was so good too. I personally think that Heir of Fire was the best in the first fourth of the book and the last fourth of the book. It kind of got a little slow throughout the middle of it, but nonetheless, it was such a great story. We had so many different perspectives, especially in this book where it kind of started, Sarah J. Maas started going into many of the main characters in the story kind of had their own little plot line that you had to follow. That's what made it a little bit slow, but regardless, the end of the book was, oh my god, so good. Crown of Midnight and Heir of Fire definitely got 5 stars from me. And that leaves me with this honky tonk of a book that I am about 75% through currently. I'm only including it because I did start it in August. Technically, it is a part of my summer reading wrap up, but I genuinely love this book so far. There are so many new characters that we're meeting in this book specifically. Plot is starting to get more serious and scary low-key. I'm actually currently filming like a full first time read through of Throne of Glass that I'm going to upload when I'm done with the series. Obviously we'll get more of a real-time reaction. All I'm gonna say is it's fantastic, and if you need just a little extra push into starting Throne of Glass, like I literally just forced myself to, then let this be your sign. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those were the 9 books that I fully finished this summer. The last book that I read, which is the only book that I genuinely disliked, and I haven't DNF'd a book in so long, but I had to, with On Wings of Blood by Briar Boleyn. I don't know why. I genuinely, like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm not sure why that is something that is popular and praised as one of being the best books that was published so far in 2025. If you can give me reasons as to why, please, because I literally went from reading One Dark Window into trying on Wings of Blood. Obviously a great trilogy, great writing. Rachel Gillig is one of the best authors. I haven't even read Night in Its Moth yet, and I just know that I'm gonna love it. But guys, I got like 20% through and I genuinely had to put it down. The writing made no sense, like at all. The plot, there was no world building. You just literally were thrown into one of the main basic plot lines that I have read a million times over and over again within the first few chapters. It was so bad. That's just my humble opinion. I did try to give her a chance, and it did not hit the mark for me, unfortunately. Please let me know if I'm not alone in that. So clearly discussed a lot of books today. These are all of the books that I read this summer. I feel like I had a really, really good reading summer, and I went out of my comfort zone and I really tried to be consistent, which is just two main things that I tried to uphold in my reading journey. If you're a slow reader like me, that's literally all you can do, is try to just be consistent and not get down on yourself, and try some new things because they might actually help you become a better reader. That is it for your girl over here. Thank you for tagging along on my summer reading wrap up. I love and appreciate all you guys so much. Please make sure to like and subscribe and let me know how many books you read this summer, what your favorites were, because I am dying to know. Thank you so much for all of the amazing love and support you guys have been giving me recently. It's been so fun and I'm very excited to keep uploading. Bye!